ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you our singing star, Miss Kitty Reed.
Hello world, this is Miss Kitty Reed, and today on Amish Book Club we will be discussing Mending Fences by Suzanne Woods Fisher. It is the first book in the Deacon's Family series. It was published in 2019 by Revel. I have my assistant Emily with me today, and she is from the American Girl Biddy Twins line. Luke Schrock has finally made it through rehab for his addiction to alcohol after the third attempt. He is returning home to his Amish community at Stony Ridge, supported by Bishop David Stoltzfus. Luke's family is away, so he is sent to live with Deacon Amos Lapp and his wife Fern, who have a history of taking in young people in need. Living at their home for that reason is Izzy Miller, a young woman who around a year ago left Luke's rehab facility. Izzy was taken from her mother and put into foster care at a young age. She ran away and became homeless, eventually meeting Amos, who gained her trust. After rehab, she blossomed in the loving and simple environment of an Amish home. She has been searching for her mother with no success. Luke confesses his sins at church, but people are still leery of him as he caused a lot of destruction through his mischief-making. Izzy is not charmed by Luke's cocky attitude, and to win her over, he offers her a beer. Izzy is able to resist the temptation of her old addiction, and eventually so is Luke. He tells Amos what he did, and feels quite ashamed. As part of the 12-step program, Bishop David makes a list for Luke of all the people he's wronged. Luke must apologize to each person and ask how his actions impacted them. The first person on the list is Amos. Luke blew up his mailbox, which caused Amos's correspondence with his sister to be lost. She never got to visit with him before she died. Luke put a snake in Alice Smucker's buggy. This was the tipping point that caused her to become a recluse. He tries various programs to desensitize her to snakes with some success. Another person Luke hurt was Teddy Zook. When Teddy was talking with Luke's girlfriend at the time, Luke got jealous and crushed the egg in his hand, which was the egg of an endangered rattlesnake. Teddy, a snake enthusiast, works with Alice and eventually begins a romance with her. Eventually, Luke, having just committed himself to God, has a talk with Alice about trusting in God and taking risks, and she leaves her house for the first time. Luke also searches for a rattlesnake like the egg he crushed, but this proves less successful. Izzy wants to get baptized. She loves Amish life and finally feels like she belongs somewhere. She wants to make her lifestyle permanent. However, she has no relationship with God. Meanwhile, Amos's health is declining. Years before, he needed a heart transplant, and the heart came from his own son. Amos will not get another transplant and lose his son's heart, and so he is in his final months of life. Frustrated that Izzy is still so cold to him, Luke asks Izzy what he can do to prove he is a good friend. She tells him to find her mother. Luke learns that Grace Miller has been arrested in Lancaster for a DUI. He and David go to the jail to meet with her. Grace tells them she was in the area to meet up with her daughter and says she planned to go to her wedding. Grace had not been looking for Izzy, but for Jenny, an Amish convert and Izzy's best friend. The two are actually sisters. David, having been allowed by the judge, presents Grace a deal: to go to jail or to go to rehab, paid for by the Amish church, and only after its completion start a relationship with her children. She chooses rehab. It is revealed that Grace used to live next to Amos. Grace pushed Amos's first wife down the stairs, killing her. Grace's children were taken from her, and she moved to Ohio and had Izzy. She lived next to Bishop David, and while on drugs, hit a buggy which killed his wife and daughter. Izzy was then taken from her. Thus many in the Amish community must find forgiveness in their hearts for Grace. Amos and Fern tell Izzy that she is like a daughter to them. After a conversation with Luke, Izzy accepts God into her life on the eve of her baptism. Luke finds an endangered rattlesnake and completes his list of making amends, and Izzy plans to start a yarn shop. The end. I don't even know where to begin. I apologize to those of you who had a hard time keeping track of all the drama. Some people out there might like their Amish books with the level of convoluted strangeness of a soap opera, but I don't care for it. I mean, Grace killed 2 Amish ministers' wives in 2 states and gave birth to girls who both became Amish and are best friends. And what else? Is Grace D.B. Cooper? Did she know what really happened to JFK? I'm sorry, but this is just a little too excessive for me. The book prior to the introduction of Grace seemed a bit too tangled in plot lines for my liking, but when she hit the scene, I just couldn't take it. I looked at the book and asked, really, we're actually doing this? I wanted to like the book. I sort of liked the book. It tried, but there was just way too much stuff for one book. And there are 2 other books in this series. Even the characters are not really compelling enough for me to handle the next books in this series. There were only brief hints of romance between Luke and Izzy, and their feelings were not expressed or resolved. I just don't like ridiculously dramatic books, okay? Maybe you do. I did appreciate that Luke is a very unlikable protagonist at first and has to undergo real personal growth to change and improve. The serious issues the book dealt with were addressed tactfully. I give this book a 4 out of 7. The actual writing, like dialogue and flow, is fine, so even with all that's going on, you still get pretty good writing to keep you going, and that's more than I can say about some other books. Our next book will be our Christmas special, Amish Christmas Blessings, a collection of 2 novellas by Marta Perry and Joanne Brown. Please check with your local library to see if they have it on the shelves. If not, I'm sure they would be happy to get it for you through interlibrary loan. Emily would like to remind all of you out there on the information superhighway to share your opinions in the comments and look at the video description for important links. This has been Amish Book Club with Miss Kitty Reed. This is Miss Kitty Reed and Emily signing off. See you later on Amish Book Club.
Living in the rhythm that I'm speaking of. You'll be happy in your work if you're in love. You'll be happy in your work.